Good morning, Ronak. Good morning, Sikhar. Good morning, everyone. Good evening, Gaurav. Good evening, Shivam Chauhan. Good evening, Prabhat. Now, thank you, Shivam, for your kind words. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, thank you. Hello, Prati. Good evening. We'll take one more minute, and then after a minute, we'll start the class. So we'll give a couple of minutes for people to join, and then we start the class. So thank you all. Today is our last class. That is correct, Shivam. Today is the last class for this batch. I will be starting a new next week. So anybody want to rejoin the next class, you're very welcome. So for this batch, this is the last class. And next week, we are targeting to start another one. And you are all very welcome, one of you, all of you, to rejoin the class again. So you're very welcome to rejoin. But today is the last class in this batch. That is correct. This is the last topic, which is a cost accounting. So today is the last class, and for this batch, and you are all very welcome to rejoin next class, which we are going to start next week. And also, okay, you can email Deepthi, Rajendra, and I, and we will enroll you. As I mentioned before, if any of your friend, family members wanted to rejoin, attend SAP B1 training, we will just inform us. Just inform us, and we will include them as well. So anyone, as I mentioned, I think before also, so any of your friend and circle or anything. So if you want to join, we can include them as well. And then another thing is, keep preparing for SAP B1. And as I mentioned, as I said, SAP B1 is a good market. In fact, SAP B1 is fastest growing ERP in SAP system, in SAP ecosystem. So it has its own market, and so obviously we need to have good competence, good knowledge, like we need to have in any field. So if you have a good knowledge, keep preparing. We can do your mock interview as well. So you can call us, you can email us, and we can do your assessment. Like anything in the life, success without competence is not possible. We need to have a competence. Okay. So success without competence, like anything in the life, is not possible. There is no shortcut. There never, ever be any shortcut for success. Okay. Never, ever. At the end of the day, it's all competence. If you have it, you succeed. Thank you all. You can issue certificate as well. Good evening, Manjal. So, certificate will be issued to all people who has completed our mock interview. The completed mock interview, we can provide certificate as well. The certificate can be provided to all the people who have completed the mock interview. You have the competence, you have learned it, so we can definitely provide a certificate as well. SAP software access, yes. We will provide SAP software. Yeah. Mock interview is mostly theoretical. Like mock interview basically is what I have covered in the class. So that is basically the mock interview. So whatever the concepts I've been teaching in the last PDF and this PDF, that is basically part of mock interview. Will you provide software access? Yes, we will provide software access. So as I said before, we will provide 30-day software access for people also. So you have videos and you have a training material, and we will also provide software access as well. Okay. Email us. So as you email, we provide. Okay. So we provide certificate. We provide software access. As you complete your mock interview, and then we will provide, as I mentioned before, 30-day software access as well. Okay. Anytime. So mock interview. So for mock interview, when you feel ready, you can, when you feel ready, you can email us, and we will schedule a convenient time for all of us. We will take a convenient time, and then on convenient time, we can set up a mock interview. Mock interviews are only telephonic. They're telephonic. You don't need to come anywhere, specifically now with this corona and all that situation. So we don't expect you to come somewhere, you visit somewhere, and this is all done telephonic. No visit, no travel is required for that. You come to office or whatever. So nothing of that sort is required. Okay. Thank you, guys. Any question anybody has? Any question anybody has? मेरे सवालों का जवाब दो. कोई और सवाल? Any more questions? नहीं गुरुजी, हमें कोई आपत्ति नहीं है. I like that शुद्ध हिंदी. आपत्ति नहीं है. Wonderful. Very good. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. And of course, I'm always available. You can always email me. So you are, my student, and you can always reach out to me, and I most respond to my emails. Yeah, so I will be responding to email. I mentioned to you, you can also do WhatsApp and all that as well, because I'm here in the US. So you can do that as well. Okay. Okay. Is there any fee for mock interview and certificate? No, there is no fee. No fees. So that is a good question. There is no fee for SAP B1 training, mock interviews, videos, training material, etc. So for any of them, there is no fees at all. Just want to clarify that there is no fee. Okay. Thank you, guys. Is there any specific criteria for passing interview? Any question that means criteria is basically, we make a judgment based upon our experience, whether the person knows, have a foundational knowledge or not. Means we want to make sure that, see, the thing is, it's not a question of, clearing my or our mock interview. The question basically is to develop the competence. We have to develop competence. And only because of the competence, you, me, or anyone get success. So idea is to assess and develop competence. If you develop competence in SAP Business One, it will take you very far. So it's not like it's an examination, okay, you get 30% or 60% or 90%. No. It's not like a typical your high school exam. Or I don't look at it that way. I look at it in terms of competence. I look in terms of when somebody says, oh yeah, I understand subject very well. Because in order for you to succeed in SAP or any field for that matter, we need to have a competence. And we read. We have to read. We have to study. I study myself. Even now, this 10.0 is a new material. I went through myself. Because this 10.0, which I'm covering with you, this is the latest. Actually, this 10.0 video, that training material, SAP just published a couple of weeks before your class started. So 10.0 training material itself was not available. So before I teach to you, I have to go through myself, what they have given, what they have read. I'm doing SAP for many years, but still I have to go through it. So learning is a constant process. Learning is a continuous process. We always learn. We're never done learning. And SAP also, you have a new version, new things, new additions, new functions, new capabilities, new modules. Those things keep coming. And I personally, myself, keep reading. I share with the team also. I share with our own team also as much as I can. So learning is a mindset. Always have that mindset. I tell that learning is a mindset. It's a process. A continuous process forever. We never done learning. We never say that we learn and we know each and everything, and we are gods and I know everything. No, nobody is a mindset. We should have a constant inquiry. We shall have constant inquiry in our mind. To understand, to learn, to go more and go more. Okay, enough of provisions. Now I go back to the class. Yeah, this is B1 now. You want to do FICO? I'm talking about FICO, I guess, right? So FICO is a different course that is for SAP R3. That's different. So now I'm going to start our next topic and the last topic, and that is called cost accounting. Can you hear my voice? Is my voice coming now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, wonderful. Good. Not sure what happened. I got, okay, great. I got suddenly dropped off. Okay. So we're talking about cost accounting. And the cost accounting basically, so we talk about financial accounting. Now, one more thing which I want to mention you, in SAP, there is also something called asset accounting. So I have left it because on my YouTube channel, I have a complete 1 hour or so video only on asset accounting. Okay, you can go onto the channel and you can watch the video. Okay, and I keep publishing all these videos and all that. You're very welcome, and look at the channel and you can go through it. So that's the reason I didn't talk about asset accounting. There's one asset accounting also. So that asset accounting I have covered there, so you can look into that. Yeah, there is a cash flow forecasting. So there is a whole cash flow, and you can go by the cash flow. So we go back to the manage cost accounting. So how do we manage the cost accounting? So in your company, you might have every company has a department, right? Sales department, support department, development department, production department, marketing department, S department, and all those different departments. Each department generate revenues, and they also incur some expenses. It's a common. In every department, they are incurring expenses, some incurring more costs. So keep going. But in every department, there are some expenses, some cost, different kind of a cost. If you have a sales team, you have a hotel charges, accommodation, travel, and all those things. You are a maintenance department, you are consuming a lot of components and all that. So you have all those different expenses and cost which is assigned and which you're incurring as a part of your business. So how do we keep track of all those different expenses and costs which you're incurring for various reasons? That is a summary. How do we capture the cost which we are incurring as part of our day-to-day operations? Okay. What is the cost accounting in SAP? So in order to regular good bookkeeping, you can perform expenses and revenue analysis, profitability of each business activity or department, how much cost you incur in maintenance, how much cost we incur in HR, how much cost we incur in marketing activity. So we want to keep tracking of all those different costs. And if the revenue, then also of course revenue as well. So for this purpose, for each department, for each business activity, you can define cost center. Now, cost center does not necessarily has to be defined by a department. You can define them whatever way you want. Department is one of the examples. So each department is one cost center. A lot of people do that, nothing wrong with it. But one thing which is I want to clarify, definition of the cost centers is not necessarily has to be by a department. They could be by any dimension. They could be by department, they could be by product line, they could be by line of business, they could be by whatever, geographically. So my sales office in Delhi, one cost center. My sales office in Mumbai, another cost center. My sales office in Jaipur, another cost center. So you can have them by a different ways. These are called dimensions. We'll talk about them. You can define the cost centers the way you would like them to be defined. So what is cost accounting in SAP Business? We'll continue working with the cost accounting purpose. Cost submitted to general ledger is automatically distributed to the cost center and using the defined distribution rules. Okay. So you can assign those to the GR and assign that cost center, and there is something called distribution rules. So we can also have something called distribution rule. Now, what is the distribution rule? Distribution rule basically means how would you like to distribute the cost? Because sometimes you can distribute the cost to multiple functions, manually or automatically. So there is something called distribution rule. So if you see here in SAP, so, and this is where we have a cost accounting. And in the cost accounting, we can have something called distribution rule. You can define cost centers. You can define dimensions. You can define cost center hierarchy. You can see the cost center report. You can see distribution report. But here we have a distribution rules. Distribution rule basically means how would you distribute the cost which is being incurred. That is what we are talking about here. Now, you can have a different cost centers. So you have a cost center, sales is one cost center, support another cost center, department another cost center. This is the main part. In financial cost accounting cost center, you can define, maintain as many cost centers as you want. So multiple different cost centers you can define. How do we do that? So if you see here the cost center, this is the cost center. And so you can define cost center, the name, sort code, dimension, what type of it is, start date, end date, and all that. If you want to see the previous record, this is one cost center. This is another cost center. This is another cost center. This is another cost center. Another cost center. So this is a C0003. This is a maintenance department. C0004 is HR department cost center, and the dimension is by department from this date to this date. You can put a validity date also for a cost center. This is marketing department cost center C00002, and this is representing marketing department. C001 is a production department. So these are the different cost centers which you can define. You can define as many cost centers as you want. let us say I want to define a cost center called sales office. So I have a sales office, and I have a sales office in Delhi. And that sales office I'm creating as a cost center. I define the dimension. So you see that here dimension. So dimension could be department, line of business, work location. I say a department, whatever you can. You can put a validity date if you want to. What date to what date it is valid. You say it is valid from this date, and you can put whatever date you want, and then you can edit. So see, we have created a department. If you want to go back, you can check them. We have created a new cost center C0006. This is just a name. And this cost center says my sales is a department, is my sales department, and the sales office in Delhi. So that sales office in Delhi is my cost center. Okay. This is my cost center. So here we have a cost center being defined. And this cost center is assigned to this dimension. This is the cost center. Here we also have something called short code. You see the short code? See that here? Short code. Short code is just a grouping for sorting. Because many times you might have many cost centers. If you want to give some kind of logical grouping to them, so the short code is nothing but a logical grouping to those cost centers. Okay. Now we can define distribution rules. There is something called distribution rules. Distribution rule. How I would like you guys to make a note of that statement. Distribution rule define how the cost or revenue posted for an account are distributed to the cost center. Make a note of this statement which I highlighted. What is the meaning of that statement is? Meaning of that statement is if you assign a cost or revenue to a GL, then from that GL, how does that cost get assigned? So for example, if you look at it here, so let's say I'm making a journal entry, like we talk about journal entry or journal voucher, etc. Remember, we create a journal manual, a journal entry, you can do it. And there is a company car general ledger. Now for that, we want to define a distribution rule. There is a distribution rule. Now for the distribution rule, we can have 100%. So that basically means company car expense, 100% of it goes to the cost center called sales. This is an example of a distribution. So, first and foremost, let us say I go to my chart of account. This is my chart of account. Oops. My chart of account, I go to let's say some expense account and all that. And so let's say I have here, see that? We have a telephone bill. You see that here? Telephone bill. Now, if you see here the telephone bill, we have, you see the distribution rule. So every general ledger assigned to distribution. And now here we have a department. This is the department. And if you go to the department, I can see all the departments. This is the sales office we created. So that basically means what is the meaning of that is? So that basically means if I'm putting this GL account 61030, which is the telephone expense, if I put any cost to this telephone expense account, that will automatically go to the sales office cost center. We can assign this cost center. Now, you can assign manually also. So you have two choices. That for a GL, you can assign the cost center. So when you're doing a general entry, at that time, this cost goes to this GL. From this GL, this cost goes to this department, and from this department, it goes to this cost center. This is the distribution rule assigned. Now, if you want to do it manually, you can do manually also. So basically, what the manually basically means that I don't know, well, this telephone could be sales office Delhi also, maybe sales office in Jaipur also, maybe sales office in Chennai also. We don't know. So when we make a general entry, at that time we will decide. Okay. So you have a choice. So you don't need to. So you can assign those manually as well. Okay. That is what this basically means. So you can assign here, or you can assign automatically at the or you can assign manually at the time of transaction. You have both choices. If you go to account details, you have all these different account detail also here. So this is the one thing. Now, another thing which we see here as a part of finance, you go to cost accounting, we also have a distribution rule. Okay. Okay. So here, if I go to distribution rule, this is the distribution rule. This is the screen you're seeing here. Now, let us say, if we click on it, see here. So there is a C0003 distribution rule. When you create a cost center, system automatically create a distribution rule with the same name. Okay. So what is this basically? Make a note of this statement. Okay. So there is a distribution rule C0003. We didn't create this. This distribution rule C003, we did not. We created a cost center C000036 and that cost center is sales office. And that get assigned to this scope. That is what we see. That is what I say. When you create a cost center, the system automatically create a distribution rule with the same name. So we create a cost center C0006. That cost center is sales office Delhi. With this cost center, we have code assigned as same code. And 100%. That basically means 100% cost get assigned to this cost center. That is what this basically means. So we have 100% here. This is active, and we can do direct allocation effective from this date. That is what we see. Distribution rule. There is something here called, leave the button here, direct allocation. Direct allocation. Direct allocation basically means where you incur the cost assigned to a GO that get assigned directly to a cost center as per the ratio. Then there is also indirect. In the indirect basically means indirect cost revenue are not allocated directly to the cost center. You allocate them to one or more cost center by using a distribution rule manually. So if you see this, that I have a indirect distribution rule called area. In this indirect rule, if I have a cost of 500, then I'm manually deciding that, okay, out of this 500 cost, 100 will go to the sales, 200 will go to support, and 200 will go to development. So that's the choice. Okay. Now, we did all this. Now, before I do, there is also configuration. So we go to administration, system initialization, general setting, and here we have a cost accounting. In the cost accounting, there is a first thing here called display use multi dimensions. So whether we want to use multi dimensions or not. So there is something called dimensions. I want to see the separate column in the document. And if you see here, what is my dimensions? My dimension is department, line of business, work location. This has to be activated. If I go back, if I go to in the bottom, if I go to finance, if I go to cost accounting, and here we have a dimension. If I go to dimensions, SAP provides you 5 dimensions. So these are 5 dimensions. Dimension 1, I can define my cost center by department. Line of business, I can define my cost center by line of business. Line of business basically means like product line. Because in many times in the company, I might have a product line. I have electronic product line, mechanical product line, auto product line, rubber product line. So I want a cost center by product line. That is basically means line of business. You want to define by work location, the geographical location of your officer. And you can define dimension 4, dimension 5. In this system, you have a 3 dimension which is activated. Department, line of business, work location. That basically means you can do your analysis via 5 Okay. Now we have done all this. Now I want to go to sales. I want to go to sales order. I select my customer. I go to delivery date. I put my item number. Now here, these are all my different items. This is a sales account, and this GL account is there, 40000. If I double click on it, so this GL account is related to sales revenue. Yeah, so it's related to sales revenue. We have not assigned any department, line of business, work location to this account yet. We have not assigned anything. And because we have not assigned, if I scroll on the right hand side, I get here to see department. And this is the department, sales department. We can assign. We assign the sales department here manually. Because it's not assigned to Geo, we assign manually. We add. So operation completed successfully. Okay. I go back to my sales order. This was the sales order. And in this sales order, we have assigned my department C006. And then it also takes my, if I click on it, it automatically selects my distribution rule. Now, this department, my dimension, connected to this distribution rule C006 and is linked to this cost center. See the link? And we say, okay. This came automatically. Now I want to go to delivery. I want to create a delivery. So this is delivery. This is whatever amount, 24,030. And here also, my cost of goods sold, my GL account appears, which you maintained there. And then we add. And then we add. We created delivery. We want to check our journal entry. So here, this is my cost of goods sold. And that cost of goods sold, 12,590, got assigned to this department, which is C0006. It get automatically assigned here. C0006. In the department, appear is here. We close it. After the delivery, we want to go to air invoice. This is air invoice. We put our text code. We also have our cost of department C006 appear here. We add. We add. We add. operation completed successfully. Again, I want to go back, see my journal entry. In this journal entry also, I have a sales revenue of 24,030, and that get assigned to my cost center C0006 because we have cost center in the document. Now I close all that. So we saw that how the cost center get assigned in the sales document, how it appears in journal entry. Now, so for example, I want to go back to my financials. I want to go to my cost accounting. I want to see my cost center report. And I want to see by which dimension I want. I want to see by department, which cost center I want. I want to see cost center C006. And I hit OK. So in this cost center, what happened? See here. In this cost center sales office Delhi, my expense of 12,590 got assigned here. This expense came from delivery. At the time of delivery, I did a good issue. And whatever good issue we did, that expense got assigned here. That is the cost of goods sold, which came at the time of delivery, 12,590. Okay. Then we also have here something called the revenue. Revenue is 24,000. This 24,030, this revenue coming from my customer invoicing. So this was my revenue. So this was my cost, which came from my delivery. This is my revenue, which came from customer invoicing. And this was a direct allocation, because the rule there was direct allocation. Indirect allocation, nothing. Manually, we didn't assign any cost. Okay. Okay. That is how we get the cost and revenue assigned. We can do different other ways also. So for example, I go to journal entry, and I want, let us say, some customer. I want to assign some cost. I put some GL. There's some expense. Motor vehicles. And, any kind of expense could be there. You see that all these different kind of expenses. I have a telephone bill, $200. Now here also, I have a department. You see that? Sales office. I have a sign, sales office. The cost. So this was an example that we have assigned a department. This is an example of a manual general entry. Because I have some miscellaneous expense, telephone bill, this, that, whatever. I want to assign it to some cost center. I can assign it. So this is how you can use at the time of general entry. Let us say many times we do also good issues. We go to inventory transactions, good issue. I put an item here. And then I'm, let us say, doing a good issue of one piece in this warehouse. And here also, there is a department. I want to put a cost center. I can do a cost center. And then we add it. So we did a good issue. If I go to general entry of this good issue, this cost 12,000, the 590 get assigned to this department. So there are multiple different ways we can allocate, assign the cost to the cost centers. Now, if you see here, now expenses increased. Increase 12,000, 25,180. Why it is increased? Because we assigned the cost twice more. Now we are in the loss. If you see that earlier we were in profit. Now there's a loss of 1,150 because my revenue is 24,030. My expense so far, I put a telephone expense. We did some good issue also. My expense under this cost center is 25,180. So I have more expenses, less revenue, and I'm in the loss. That is how we can get into the loss. Okay, and so that is how we can actually assign the cost and all that, and different reports actually. And that is what I wanted to show you here in all these different transactions in the cost accounting which we did. Okay, so with that, thank you all, and we are done for now. समाचार एक्चुअली समाप्त हो गए. समाचार is actually over. Thank you all, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhat, and thank you everyone. Bye, guys. Take care. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you, Manoj. Thank you, Ronak. Thank you, Ajit. Thank you, Sakev. Thank you, Sikhar, Sibam, Gaurav, and everyone. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.